Yeah, we're recording now. So, Ashwin, if you want, you can take over, man. I can pass you the ball. If you want to take over, you can give us.
Yeah, like if you can, I mean, I can share the. Let me.
Yeah, I pass the ball. You can share.
Yeah. Can you guys see the? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, this is just a a certificate which kind of shows the overall approach we're trying to take here. So from the usage side, from the plugin, the library usage would be something like this. You'd start with getting an instance of OpenVSwitch. So then let's go with the typing out information first, and then maybe we can jump into how this instance is realized and stuff like that. But let's say there are two modes which I was kind of thinking about. The first one is when you establish a connection with an OpenVSwitch, we actually go read the schema from the device itself, and then we form a meta model of that thing, and that is exposed through some well-defined objects. In this case, the table schema and column schema. So in the get vSwitch call, if you go look at that, go inside. It's right here. We are establishing connection to that. There's a bunch of things that are happening inside this thing. We can go inside that. So one of the first calls we do this OpenVSwitch object, and one of the first things we do is populate schema from device. So what this does is it gets this database schema from the JSON which we get as a result of the get schema call. This is a fully formed schema object, right? So it has got all the tables and all the fields in each of those tables. They are all represented using the schema object here, database schema. Going back, once we have the schema, then let's say we want to make an operation. Please feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. But let's say we have the schema, and then we want to get some details about the bridge table. Only you want to make some operations on the bridge table. So this is one way. If you are going the completely untyped approach, this is what you would do. So you say OVS schema for the table bridge, and then you get a type Java object which represents any table, because it's basically we are not saying for a specific bridge, specific bridge or core table. It's for any table. So you get that thing, and then you could create, you could query that information, query the table schema for the column type, for the name field. So that comes back as this thing. And here, this is actually not a strictly check type. We could do that too, but here it's just basically we are saying we are declaring this Java type to be of a string, because name is a string which belongs to any table. So why we are doing this is basically once you declare this here, then we can use the type safe the type information to ensure that these fields which you are setting down here are properly checked by the compiler. So let's say we have these two statements here. Then one of the ways we would interact is by going with this sort of DSL. So here we are saying that OVS.transact, and we are saying I want to perform an insert operation. So you're adding operations. The operation would look like something like that, right? Operation for insert, and you're inserting onto the bridge table. Bridge table is the one which we got from here, and you're updating a value, inserting a name value there, and you're also in the same transaction context. You have another operation for updating another value. So that is you're setting the name to be or something, where the name is equal to that. So it's you can see it's a mini DSL. The good part is because we are already typing it here, some of these things can be. So for example, if I change this to 34, you immediately get a type checker saying that it's a string because you have declared this as a string and now you're using something else. So you can do some amount of type checking there with the minimal information in the type. Is it very useful? I don't know. But, it's debatable whether it's like super useful or not. But in most of the times when you write code, like you'd want these things to be declared ahead of the time, and then once you are actually like doing the transact operations, those are all type checked. So it helps in that way. But if someone wants to take it to the next level of the completely typing it, you would have something like this. For example, the table schema I was showing you earlier. Basically, you're saying table schema, you're doing an untyped check, from this OVSDB.table, right? Just looking it up. You could alternatively do something like this, where you declare like a class extending from the table schema. And then while getting it from the OVS object, you pass the type of the class. So then your library will populate this object, the fully typed object. Please note that this is all done at the client. It's not a part of the library. It's like when the plugin wants to do that. If the plugin decides that it wants some more control over the typing, then it can declare something like this. Here we are explicitly stating that in the bridge table, the name field is actually a string, and then the flood balance is an integer, and start with a string, and this is another reference object. So you are typing it like in the client side. It's in our case the plugin. So again, so the statement here is simply like that. Bridge is equal to OVS schema table bridge, versus here I didn't know the type, so we are saying that it is from any schema. I don't even know what the type it is, but here you can go a bit more specific, but rest of the operations are same. If you look at it, I can specify like what type I'm saying, like I'm updating the flood VLANs field with the integer 45. All the type checking still works here. It is not allowing a string there. So that's essentially what I was trying to do. Like there's no schema generation, there's no nothing in the thing. We are only dealing with whatever information we are getting back from the vSwitch, and we are forming this constraint. If you look at the implementation of that, we are simply going and creating a bunch of constraints for all the based on the schema which we are getting from the database table and the column, and then we can enforce all these things in the runtime. With some static checking, if you create the right signature for those, like what I have done here. You could also like have not done this thing, but then you will not get any compile time type safety. But like the backend constraints will ensure that before the call leaves the client, it's all checked and verified. So runtime definitely you can have safety, but if you want compile time safety, then there are two options. One is to do this, or you can have like completely defined structure like this. This I don't think like is favored because this means that we have to know the structure ahead of the time. But the argument could be like maybe like there are like some common objects for a particular type, then you can declare all those things ahead, and then part of it you can leave it to be completely untyped. So that is in essence like what this is.
So does table schema have any methods? Can we have a look at table schema?
Yeah, sure. This actually, there are two things which it does. One is like basically it forms a structure from whatever we are reading from the schema, right? And the second one is it's actually kind of a parser, if you would, like it parses out the JSON to form the structure. So yeah, two things with that. It's a recursive call. Yeah. Right.
I guess what I'm thinking is that what I'd like to do, one way or the other, is make this very easy for people to consume. So the API that we expose from the plugin ought to be very intuitive for people to use it. Now, the reasoning behind having those dynamic POJOs that we were talking about last week was the fact that we could pull off the wire the schema, turn it into a set of Java objects that somebody can actually manipulate on the edge. So they could use reflection, they could work out exactly what's there to be used, and then we could use it as a standard Pojo. So it would have been very easy for them to use.
Yeah.
No, carry on. Sorry.
So the in here also, like, you would have very similar thing, like, instead of generating a Pojo name, let's say bridge or any of those, we would have like an object called, let's say, table, which will have like a bunch of fields called table values or something. But each of them are the types of those are going to be declared in the column type and column schema and stuff like that. So you could inspect every aspect of like so for example, I'd have like a table, an object called table, with like a list of columns, right? Inside that, each of the columns would have a corresponding type. So you can inspect every aspect of that as if you are looking at a Pojo, but not you have methods to manipulate those. The only thing is that it won't appear to be, it won't be like a a Pojo, simple Pojo, but like a much more powerful, because it'll have like all the constraints and other things which you can put into that.
Yep, I'm following. So the other way I was looking at this after speaking with Madhu was that I was thinking that maybe if we just had this single approach and kind of augmented it a little bit to make the API a little richer, then I think that would alleviate any concerns that I have. So, for example, being able to have table schema have a method that says get columns, and I can find out the names of all the columns that are associated with that schema. Because then I can, exactly. So I can do some inspection there to see, oh, is this an Open vSwitch schema, or is this the hardware VTEP schema? What am I talking to?
Right. Yeah, that's already like supported. Like if you look at it, I have this field, column schema. There's all those columns in it. Maybe I'll just expose that.
Awesome. And then looking at your example, I was just trying to work out how this was working with the column schema. So when where is the type inferred for this column name? Is that where I'm?
Oh, so this one is not inferred. Like so if you look at here, this actually like just returning the type. It's like coercing into the type which we are declaring it to be. So here, I'm saying it's a column schema for a string, because I know it's a string, right? If I know like if it's a string, then I can do that. But if you want to know like in runtime like what the actual type is, you go into the column schema, and then for each column schema you have a column type object. So you go to the column schema and then just get the column type, and you know what the type it is. The type is like further subdivided into like, all kind of stuff you have.
There's a variety of bizarre types. So long as we can get the type for a specific column,
right?
That works for me.
Yeah.
So is there any way?
Just give others an update, right? So what we are doing here is it is metadata-driven implementation of library. And last week we discussed about having a Pojo-based one. But after discussing with Ashwin, we kind of decided that we kind of concluded that may not be. I mean, having a Pojo another layer may not be very helpful or useful compared to what is already been done in the library layer, right? So that is the discussion, right? So to give credit to Ashwin, Ashwin told me that it's not complete yet, but still I asked him to just present it today here because just to discuss the high-level design more than the implementation completeness, because I don't think it's complete in all aspects yet. Just Dave, just for information.
No, that's cool. I'm not looking for holes. I'm just trying to understand it. Because I think this is pretty awesome, and having had this explained, then I can see why we don't need to go down that dynamic Pojo route. We could, but it would be more of an academic exercise than actually achieving anything, because we already have the functionality here. It's just trying to get an idea of how that works.
Right.
Sorry.
Go. Sorry. So the Pojo approach, like I'm for it. The only issue is like if we have a Pojo generated and let's say like we populate that, there's no way, there's no handle at compile time, to access that. We still have to use some kind of reflection. At which point of time we'll be losing any type safety or any benefits you would get from a Pojo. If you are really interested in the type, then this is like more better because you have like all those types represented into the last mile, and then you can, in fact, if you want really strong type checking, we can do something like this, right? And then it's completely typed at the point of time.
I'm on the phone, sweetie.
What was that?
And yeah, Ashwin, once you go this approach of type, right, then we are talking about static binding, right? That's what we discussed originally, where we are providing options for static typing, or the library can itself provide dynamic typing the way you want to, instead of generating photos, right? Yeah.
Right.
And
this is all you need to look. If you look at this, this is all you need to do, right? It's just like pass the type and then the library. This is a library, right? It takes this object and instantiate and then get this thing.
Yeah, that having seen this, I don't like that approach. I prefer your original example, from a usability perspective. So that's cool. The only thing that I was trying to work out here is that is it possible for me to, if I don't read the schema properly and I was to, for example, put an integer instead of a string there, what would happen?
Yeah, so what we can do, if you look at this one.
So basically, I think I know what I'm talking about, and I say, oh yeah, that value is an integer, no worries. So it's not going to generate a compile time error, but I'm guessing something bad will happen at runtime. So,
so look, I think I have some checks here. Like if you say look set right, that operation, see like there's a validate method, you can call. So it get this value, and then it can check with the corresponding schema, because every column schema object which you are getting has defines the type of this value. So we just basically get the schema. We get it for the type information, and then we can actually in runtime pass this value to the schema for validation. So if it is so you can in fact put like arbitrary number of validators there, for the the type, the ranges, the enums and whatever.
Yeah, we need to do all this completion. In fact, if you look at this one, right, there's the same problem also in the POJO, right? If we do a dynamic POJO, they have the same problem, right? There's no difference there. But here, I think we have more control over the code, where we can do the actual validation as recommended by the RFC 7047, right? As Ashwin mentioned, we can do the enum checks, we can do the we can do the range checks, we can do everything that we can do here.
Yep, that's awesome, guys. Awesome work, Ashwin. I like it. Yeah. Do we have a couple of custom exceptions that we're raising when bad things happen?
We can. I haven't done it. We could, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It would just be good to get those. I know, again, implementation's not complete, but having some good exceptions there would be useful.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of suffer from patchy exception handling in the library. We've previously just thrown, a generic exception. So yeah, that's cool, buddy. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Great. So guys, how about this? Ashwin, shall we? Let's wait for the call to be over before we take a decision. But do you think it's okay to just take the code from GitHub and push it into the main branch, and just let all of us start coding on this one on top of it? Do you think it's workable now?
It's workable, but then I think we have to have like the insert and the update operations completely working. But completely working in sense, it worked for like the few escapes they have. But I think we have to fill in a lot of gaps. There are lots of tutors in the code, and it's just a toy code. It's just POC. We need to make it really rich with all the exception. They was mentioning we have custom exception types for all the values and things, and then some more type checking and things like that.
I guess to Madhu's point, the sooner we can get it into a position where we as a community can kind of all chip in and work on it, then the quicker it's actually going to get realized. So whether we push it into a draft or maybe Madhu, I hate to say feature branch because if Chris was here, he'd probably say a bad word, but maybe.
In fact, we did that before, right? Jay, if you don't realize it, right, before. For the native, we pulled a branch called native branch, right? Let's not call it a feature branch because it's a folks may not like it, right? We'll just call it some working branch or draft branch or whatever, right? And let's all work on that branch, make it stabilized, and then we can push it back into the main repo. It's fine with me.
Yeah, but let's make sure we do it quickly and don't let it percolate for too long. We don't want merge issues.
So, I mean, Ashwin, if you're okay, maybe I'll pull a branch now or you can also pull a branch. You also committed, right? So we can pull a branch on our ODL repo, and then let's write code on that. And once they are comfortable, we can merge it to the master.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, sir. I mean, this is awesome, man. I mean, this is exactly like what I did before, and it's working out better that way. So.
Hey, Madhu, I have another meeting. I want to take you 1 minute out.
Just one final thing, right? While Ashwin and I we discussed about this, the advantages of going with Pojo versus this one. The only advantage we saw with Pojo could be that the Jackson on outbound API can use the Pojo directly and do some stuffs dynamically. But later we realized that even that can be easily addressed using custom dissectors, right? And hence we decided, we concluded that it could be this mechanism can be used as is, and by having custom dissectors on the outbound APIs as well, right, Ashwin?
Yeah, I think we can write some Jersey. That's what we're using, right? Jersey. For
the Jackson, right.
Yeah. So Jersey has some post processing, things which we can use to convert the return type to anything we want. So it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah. Because the reason I'm saying that is, Ashwin, if you don't mind, can you open the OVSDB northbound? Do you have it open here? Yeah. If you can open northbound and go to the if you look at the OVSDB row.java, OVSDB row. The next file, yeah. So here I have this ugly code. Yeah. No, this is the one, right? I have the ugly code in this case where today we use the Jackson annotations, right, to do the type. If you look at the string versus the class checking here, we have the bridge.class to bridge string and capability.class to capability because of the issue with Jackson or Jersey or some in some layer we have this issue. So we are doing the static binding here, right? Which we have to remove right away. This one thing I hate to even see it here, but we did it as part of the hydrogen release to make things move faster. But now we have to remove this. As we go to the dynamic binding approach on the library layer, we have to remove this and we have to replace it with proper approaches. That's why I always think about both southbound and northbound together because of this issue.
Yeah, I think this we can do without a lot of work, I guess.
Okay, because if you look at this code is very comfortable. By having this kind of approach here, we can dynamically we can bind directly. If you look at this code here, right, the OVSDB row takes in table as a parameter here, and the table is dynamically casted to bridge or capability or controller based on the string that is coming in from the northbound API from JSON, right? So if we can have a custom dissector and this one, we can address that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you just think about it. If it's coming in the string and we're using strings to access the tables anyway, it's just, a one-to-one call to the back end, right? You just call the plugin with that string and say, give me this table, and boom, we're done.
That's right. I mean, yep.
That sounds like I'm volunteering to write that piece of code, so...
yeah,
just realized I was saying that. And thinking, oh, damn, this is a lot like volunteering.
That's how it works here, right? The moment somebody gives an answer, they are the owners for that. Yeah, Ashwin, thanks a lot, man. And I'll pull a branch, and maybe you can do the first merge, and we can go take on from there.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
hey,
we'll think after.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
All right, so that's Dave, I certainly like this one, man, because this gives us the flexibility that we really always wanted, and we can start building on top and change all the code to address this approach now.
Yeah, I think that's it's very cool, and the sooner we get this in a feature branch we can work on, the better, because now it's here, I can actually start working on it. So it's good stuff. Like it.
Yeah. So, Matt, last week you also had this have the idea of having this dynamic Pojo, but after last week I discussed with Ashwin and we concluded that dynamic Pojo may not be even needed with the current approach that we are taking, and we saw the demo now, right? You have any inputs on this, Matt?
No, I think it's a good idea. Like I said last week, the whole dynamic Pojo thing was new to me. So either way, it looks like a good approach.
All right, man, great. So, okay, so we are on target then. So that is fine. So that is done. Hey, Brent, buddy, do you have anything else to say, buddy, or we will just pull a branch today and we'll move on?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Actually, the one thing I was going to ask regarding branches, so we've only done that once in the project, and it's not that easy. What is that just a matter of, it's just for future stuff, so we all know what you're doing when you pull a branch. Is that just going to Andrew and asking for a branch? And Andrew's the Linux Foundation admin.
No. Branch is managed by the committers. So if you want, I can show it to you guys. Should I show you how to do that?
Yeah. If it's just as simple as pulling a regular, I didn't realize we could branch anything.
It is so simple to do, and I'll show right away. Because it's so simple to show, I can confidently show it in the live demo.
Now you said that, you know it's going to go already.
I know it's going to work because it's not, this is code I didn't write. So.
You're so setting yourself up to fail.
So here, so if you look at the
don't break out OpenStack right now. No OpenStack demo.
This is not OpenStack demo. It's the code which we didn't write. It's already did by the Gerrit and Git. And if it fails, you say these guys wrote bad code, right? Anyways, so if you go to the Gerrit to our project, the OVSDB project, there's a link called branches. And you can see a lot of branch here because it's all the branches that we pulled before or pulled during the bulk release process, auto-generate and whatnot. And on bottom here, you see the topic nitty is what we did long time back, nitty branch. All you do is type topic / whatever, create branch, it's going to create a branch for us. That is it. So there's no magic there at all.
You weren't kidding about that.
Well, just referring this back to some of the discussion that was on the mailing list, I don't know if you guys saw, but I think we were trying to move away from having longer feature branches because they've become a real pain in the ass to merge. So,
well, okay, so
there is a very good reason for having it here, but just saying, just so it's been said.
Yeah, you're right, and each project can decide on what is best for the project, right? So, we can take a decision here, right? If you guys don't want to have a branch, we have to decide on what is the best alternative for that.
But there isn't one other than having a master that doesn't work. I think, as Ashwin said, this code is still pretty raw, and if we merge this into master, we're going to lose functionality or something bad will happen. So I'd rather get it in the branch where we can bring it up to scratch and then merge it in.
Yeah, that's what I prefer too. In fact, it worked really well for us in the Netty branch. When we had the same problem before Netty, migrating Netty, we didn't want to destabilize the master. We kept it as is. We went to the topic Netty and then we hashed out everything out there. And from there we merged, everything worked seamlessly after that. So I prefer that.
Cool. Yeah, I think as we're a small team and we're all conscious of what's happening anyway, then that's cool. We just don't touch the library or plug in the full master for a little while, and everything will work itself out.
Exactly. So Brent, you okay with everybody, buddy? I mean, to pull a branch and we'll move on from there.
Oh yeah, no, it looks great. I really appreciate it. I mean, Ashwin, he already dropped. Man, he's all business, all business today. Yeah, no, it looks really nice. I think it's pretty. I mean, it looks even easier than the existing library from what I'm seeing. So that's awesome. I'm excited for it.
So guys, do you have any suggestion for the name for the branch? Last time we called Netty. Do you want to call it something else today?
Are we actually? I do have a quick question. Are we using Jackson for serializing, deserializing?
Yeah, that is not changing.
Okay, I was just curious. I had to step away, so I missed him showing that. I'll go back and watch the video.
Oh, we are not changing anything on that side, right? I mean, those code is like still intact. The only thing we are doing is using the table schema and the column schema raw. Instead of having a static binding, we are removing all those and having a raw access to the table schema and column schemas.
Right. So much more probably like our northbound.
Yeah, much more like northbound. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, and the RPC methods exposed by the RSC 7047 will be exposed as methods directly. Right. That's the difference. So you'll see that transact will be a method that we can call, add will be a method that you can call, so on and so forth. And to Dave's point, right, we can even add more abstractions to the library to make it even more simpler for the plugins or applications to make use of. That we can do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great point. Like bridge domain service, I don't know what we're going to do if you have any interest or if that'll get picked up on, the work you were thinking on with the switch abstraction. But I think we definitely need to do, I mean, are we going to look at any referential checks other than just kind of like what we do today as far as...
No, I think the referential check, we can leave it to the host to give us the error. Right? If there's an error, let the referential check error can be thrown from there. But we'll do the basic schema checks, like if we expect an array when we pass an integer, we'll throw an error right away locally. Right. The famous error that we face, right?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, that was a good one. Oh, that's great, man. And then I think to you guys' point, if we can go back and then we'll maybe add another layer there to make it super easy. I've just noticed a lot of here in the past, I don't know, about week, it seems like we've had a lot more people kind of coming in and needing to know how to do, add things. And I'm a little worried we're going to run out of daylight on that. No pun intended. Awesome.
So,
thanks, guys.
Any suggestion for the name? Shall I call it as? I'll start with the name called schema. Topic/schema.
Yeah, or plug in a library, or I don't know, whatever. Madhu. Should we call it the Ashwin branch in tribute to his work for?
Oh, no, that is no. We don't want to put him on spot, man.
Yeah. For most, it would be like, oh, let's not build their ego, but he's such a humble, dude. Yeah, he would totally freak out. That's awesome.
Guys, give some names.
Actually, I guess one last quick question, dude. Do we see any performance either way delta on this?
No, this will not cause performance hit, right? Because here we are not adding load using any reflection or anything. We are just manipulating. See, instead of doing a static typing and doing the class based, here we are having a kind of database of information. We're using the database access, right? This is not going to cause any performance impact.
Awesome.
Unlike the Pojo, if you go with Pojo, it will cause because of the reflection problems I explained before.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
This is cool.
Then the only other thing I'd add is this is always a great time we need test units with it. So if we have new people on that are interested in getting their feet wet, it's a good place to start, I think, with test units on this kind of thing.
Well, absolutely, man. And that's one of the requests that we're going to have here, right? When we write this in this new branch, let's follow some JUnit right? JUnit properly for all the code that we write, and we write the integration unit, ITs and everything we do properly. See, one of my goals for this one would be that OVSDB project should become one of the core projects soon. So if we want to be a core project, we have to stand as an example of how to write, appropriate quality-based code. Like we call it TDD. I don't want to call it TDD. If we say TDD, then folks don't like it. So if we can write something like a test-driven methodology for coding, then we can showcase how good we can use CI for actually catching errors much sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't call it TDD, but we'll call it we won't merge your code unless you provide us unit tests.
Right,
we
exactly.
won't enforce you having to write them beforehand. But as long as you give them to us, it's all good.
Right. Any piece of code must have a corresponding unit test code, and they should have been covered using Sonar, and make sure the new code coming in should be completely clean. That should be the criteria, right? Whether we call it TDD or not, who cares, right? Let's not call it TDD. Right?
We'll just say we're going to have tests.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about
discipline,
are we planning on having everything that was in hydrogen, making sure we have test coverage for that?
So my point would be since we're pulling a branch, we have this flexibility, right? Let's start with the new code, whatever we're writing. We just keep because since we're starting with the library layer, right? Let's build from the library layer on top. The whatever code we're going to write in the library layer, let's make sure it's completely foolproof with all the unit tests in place, right? And let's make our Sonar is clean on this layer. And as we change once we change the library layer, we have to change the layer, like the Neutron layer, the plugin layer. So whatever code trying to access must be again unit test covered. So that way we can slowly start covering everything, end to end.
And do we know if Jenkins can generate coverage reports for unit tests?
Yeah, it can. And in fact, my suggestion would be to fail the build, right? Of course, we'll fail the build for UT failures. And and we make sure that the Jenkins will be so strict for this branch.
Oh, yeah, sure. But I'm just hoping that, maybe we want to set a realistic goal and say, we're not going to merge this until we've got at least 80% UT coverage on this branch.
Yeah, let's do that.
Or
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, my request would be to be strict for committers who merge the code. We have to be strict in making sure this branch, at least what we are writing now, should be fully test-worthy.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So that is it, guys. I mean, that's what we planned for today. Brent, is there anything else you want to call about?
No. I just need to get back to work, unfortunately. Next week I'll have something, but I just need to grind.
So that is it, man. And is somebody going to the Hackfest, ODL Hackfest? I'm going to the OVS Hackfest tomorrow.
I'll see you remotely, buddy.
So awesome. Oh, great point, Dave. Great point. It's let me grab the link. I've got it hidden out here.
Carl's got the WebEx going, so I'm gonna jump on there and see what's happening. Is that an ODL Hackfest or is that the OVS Hackfest?
I'm in OVS. I'm not going to ODL.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, just making sure it is the OVS one, and it is tomorrow. Yeah, you're right. I'm still confused. I still think it's Monday. I mean, what's up with that?
So
guys,
hey, that's a good point too. Is there overlap between?
Yeah, there is overlap.
ODL.
There's overlap. Yeah. I mean, I had to pick it, and I picked OVS this time. So let's see. And guys, I mean, I started writing code in OVS. Hello world, it's fine. So my environment is ready to go.
Yeah, maybe next week we can spend some time, or maybe even do another. I know I've asked you about it. Just kind of a dump from, kind of what you learned at summer camp.
Yeah,
next
sure.
week.
Hey,
Awesome.
okay, actually, a good point. Do you guys want me to do anything on the hack fest, working with these guys, trying to learn something else, or you want to hack something on specific on OVS? Please let me know. I'll try to get the best guys out there to help us out.
How about OSMs for ARP? Or is that not done?
Sorry, Matt. I missed your point. What is that?
So it's my understanding that we still have to rely on NXMs for doing ARP properly. Is that fixed, or is that something we should still do?
That is still open, so we don't have a choice. Because the problem of NXM or not is not a obvious issue, right? It's an issue with the OpenFlow 1.3 specification, right? That we cannot do anything. Even the hacking we cannot help because there's no OXMs that's available today that can solve our problem with the ARP responder and the what is the other one, buddy? Brent, is there one more thing you're working on, right?
There's a couple, but the two main ones is tunnel IPv4 and IPv source and destination on the flow mod.
Right. So both the issues with the NXM is the OpenFlow 1.3 specification itself, not the OVS implementation. From OVS specifically, I don't know what to. I don't think we have any specific request for OVS itself, right, Brent? Is there anything else you want to?
There's one. So there was the solution that we talked about where we do the flood the ARP once, and then we cache the response in Open vSwitch, and then we replay the response for all subsequent ARP requests. So that way we minimize the amount of ARP traffic that's going external, and we maintain a cache in OVS. So that's potentially an interesting project.
That's a good point. If ARP responder doesn't work out, if ARP responder is fine, then we don't have to do that, right?
Well, no. Even with ARP responder, right? Because we'll still need the ARP responder functionality to
got it.
send the response. But what we're actually doing is maintaining a per device ARP cache. So we're populating, that table rather than populating that table from the controller. We're dynamically learning, which means if the controller disappears, then we actually have some form of 8-day. We can maintain an ARP cache, and entries can time out, whatever. So yeah, there's a couple of benefits that we can get in terms of maintaining our table space properly.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Maybe we can start having that discussion also tomorrow. That's a good point.
So that's one of the ones that I want to try and push. And the other thing I'm trying to push, which I keep on joking about, I'm only half serious about this one, is implementing a netconf client or server for Open vSwitch.
Okay.
That's probably going to go down like a lead balloon, but I think it would be cool. I've been looking into netconf. I think it's pretty cool, and it'd be nice for OVS to be able to support both in the long run, OVSDB and netconf. But we'll see.
Dave's been abducted by aliens. Who's this? Where'd Dave go?
I went to the IETF and then I was never the same.
I want to see your employee card ID right now.
Maybe it's because I was doing traditional networking for too long, but the fact that netconf allows us to have different versions of the config, like the running, the startup, and a candidate as well. From an operational standpoint, I think that's a big benefit rather than doing everything in the doing everything on the live config.
Right. No, I'm with you, man. I mean, hey, dude, I joke, like, your guys' experience are what makes you all unique here. So, yeah, whatever you think has practical applicability, then that's, that's what we look at. Hey, I'm gonna do this.
Hey, Brent, you were about to say something? Is it me, or can you guys hear Brent?
I can't hear Brent. He started talking and then he tailed off.
Yeah, I ping him saying, hey, dude, we can't hear you. It happens once in a while. All right, I think we lost him. We
Okay, he's disappeared.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Hey, here he is.
Yeah, totally. Like I saw video kept going. Just last thing, super quick was tunnel away. Like, what can we do? We ran into some issues when we were looking at pathing and things like that. So maybe like just understand, maybe figuring out what the roadmap on fields are. And any tunnel awareness, us being able to slap anything on the outside of the calculation. I think it was ton underscore toss. I don't know. So anything like that can be awesome.
Sorry, brother. I heard you on and off, so I was not very sure.
Never mind. I give up. Sorry. Ignore.
Roadmap on the OVS field. So check the chat. Brent's posted a link.
Okay, got it. All right.
So before we disappear, shameless plug for my recent commit. There's a build script in there that I've written, which makes building the controller from source and OVSDB much easier. So have a go, play with it, tell me that it works, and then we'll get it merged.
Sure, David.
Oh, cool.
And there's one problem because the OF13, all those things will not work today because of the distribution is not completely done yet. So we have to revamp the distribution folder completely, actually, to make it work. That's one of the work items that I have in my plate, which I haven't come to that yet. So when I saw your script, right, the script may not work as efficiently till we fix the distribution folder.
Right? Well,
Just
it works for me.
Yeah.
I tried it out, and yeah, it works. And now we've got the. That's the other thing.
The OF13 will not work, right?
I didn't test 1.3 to be honest. 1.0 works a treat. But what I was going to mention was that now we've merged Colin's Git review commit. Getting stuff from Gerrit is really easy because now as long as you have Git review installed, you just do Git review -d and then the commit number in Gerrit, and it pulls it down, and you don't end up in detached head state. It creates a local branch for you to review the change. So,
oh, nice.
Thumbs up to Colin for doing that. It's 4 lines of config file, which has given us a much easier workflow. So check it out.
All right, sir. And Brent has given his awesome stuff. Whatever.
Oh, buddy, is this going to be like a build script? Oh man, you haven't seen mine. It's like 150 lines of Python.
No, this is
that's much better than your measly 27 lines of Bash.
Dude,
so
I mean, Dave, I did see your script, man, and I really liked it. The moment I saw the OF13, I said, "Oops, it's not going to work because of my issue."
That's all right, but that's an undocumented feature. Yeah, it won't work when you do the 1.3, but the rest of it, it worked pretty good.
All right, man. I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try today and maybe merge it today. So.
All right, hey, Madhu, the one you were talking about, is that getting it into Jenkins, like the VTN build, the virtualization build that they did?
Yeah, so actually, let me explain it. The problem is the distribution folder that we have today locally, right? It was pretty old. It was done before the ON3 interface, before the Neutron and whatnot. So there's one item that is pending on us there. We had to revamp our POM files to not depend on the parent POM as the controller POM. We have so many issues with, when you do the actual release, we had this issue with the version bumping and whatnot because of the way our POM structure is defined. So we need to change our POM structure. We need to change the distribution way we are doing it. Once you do all those, it'll be easy for integrating with the integration branch as well. But these two are not tied, but it'll be easier for integrating us and an integration branch if we revamp our POM structure. Yeah, that's one thing that is pending on us.
I pasted the Jenkins link so people can see what it is. Because there's a service provider, there's a base, and then there is a VTN one, but there's not Yeah, and Madhu, maybe we'll be doing that. I don't know how involved. I'm sure it's pretty involved, but maybe I don't know. We can.
It's not pretty involved. If you guys know Maven, it'll be easy. But I don't know much of Maven. I do some stuff. Like I can do some stuff, but not. So that's why it's kind of more involved for me. If somebody is like,
if it's involved for you, you know what it is for us. No, my only concern is like we're screwed if you ever leave us.
Don't go, Madhu.
A couple of us can look over your shoulder.
When you were talking about me, or?
Yeah. I mean,
dude, come on.
It's a black box for us.
I was going to offer Madhu, if you want to triage it for me and just explain what kind of needs to be done, I'm happy to take a stab at it, as I've got some cycles right now.
Oh, sure, man. I'll exactly explain to you. But we are going to have a lot of work with the new branch. So I haven't heard the name yet, man. Should we call it topic schema, or what do you want to call it, guys?
Yeah, we'll call it schema. That kind of makes sense, unless anybody has objections.
All right.
I mean, just if you could work a CAD into it or something. I think that would be appropriate.
All right, guys. I have to drop off now, and if there's nothing, we can stop the recording as well.
Please do, sir.
All right, so stopping recording, and you can